The bell's echo hadn't fully faded before the courtyard began to swell with sound. It was the kind of noise that felt alive, lockers slamming like distant thunder, laughter bursting and breaking apart, the hollow cough of buses waking up at the curb. A thin rain fell without commitment, more mist than storm, turning the far edge of the schoolyard into a slick, brown patchwork where dirt surrendered to water. Shoes avoided it instinctively. Ms. Park did not. She crossed the yard with her arms full, lesson plans, a folder labeled Week 1, a ceramic mug with a chipped rim she'd brought from home because it made her desk feel less temporary. Her cardigan was too light for the weather, but she wore it anyway, buttoned to the collar, as if neatness could keep the cold out. She walked quickly, eyes on the ground, rehearsing tomorrow's class in her head. Introductions. Expectations. A promise to herself to speak louder. Hey, Mississippi. She didn't look up at first. New teachers learned quickly that acknowledging every call could invite more. But the voice followed, closer now, and the path narrowed where the pavement dipped toward the mud. Ms. Park, right? She stopped. Turned. 3 seniors stood in a loose half-circle, blocking the concrete strip that led back toward the building. They were taller than her by a head, shoulders broad under letterman jackets and hoodies. One leaned on his heel, rocking with casual arrogance. Another had his phone already in his hand, thumb hovering like this might be worth recording. The third smiled too easily. Yes, she said. The word came out small. She cleared her throat. If you'll excuse me. Careful there, the rocking one said, nodding toward the mud. It's slippery. The rain darkened his jacket in patches. He didn't move aside. I'll go around, she said, attempting a polite sidestep. Her heel slid on the wet edge of concrete, a warning tremor that traveled up her leg. She tightened her grip on the folder. Pages whispered. The boy with the phone laughed. Whoa. Almost. Please, she said, smiling because that's what she'd practiced. Smile, steady, de-escalate. I just need to get back inside. Relax, miss, said the third one, stepping closer. We're just helping. A hand brushed her elbow. Not hard. Not enough to be called a shove. Enough to break her balance. The world tilted. The mug slipped, shattered with a sound like a tiny gunshot. Papers flew, white against gray sky, spinning and slapping into puddles. Ms. Park's foot slid again, and this time there was no saving it. She fell backward into the mud with a wet, sucking sound that seemed to silence the yard for half a heartbeat. Then the laughter hit. It came sharp and loud, bouncing off the brick walls. Someone whistled. A bus door hissed open and closed. Phones rose, black rectangles framing her where she sat stunned, palms pressed into cold muck. Mud streaked her hair, soaked into her cardigan, smeared her cheek. She tasted iron where she'd bitten her lip. "Oh man," the rocking one said, clapping once. "You okay, miss?" "Watch your step," another added, grinning. "Wouldn't want you to fall." Miss Park's heart hammered. The cold seeped in fast, heavy and humiliating. She tried to stand, but her hand slid. The mud was deeper than it looked, clinging, unforgiving. Her breath came short. She became acutely aware of everything, the sting in her palms, the way her glasses sat crooked, the weight of eyes. A few students slowed at the edge of the yard. Some stared. Some looked away. No one stepped in. "Stop," she said. The word cracked. She swallowed and tried again. "That's enough." The phone's red dot winked. The boy filming circled to get a better angle. "Say that again?" "I didn't catch it." She pushed herself upright at last, boots making obscene sounds as they pulled free. Mud dripped from her sleeves. Her papers lay ruined, ink bleeding like bruises. She bent to gather them, hands shaking, knowing it was pointless but unable to stop. Each page felt like proof of her failure to keep control. "Leave her alone," someone muttered from the crowd, too quiet to matter. The rocking one took a step closer. "You should probably change," he said. "Wouldn't want to teach looking like that." Something in her chest tightened, not fear this time, but heat. She straightened slowly, meeting his eyes. For a moment, the yard felt very still, like the breath before a storm. Rain dotted her lashes. Mud streaked her jaw. She wiped her hands on her skirt, leaving dark prints. "You think this is funny?" she asked. He shrugged. "It's just a joke." "A joke," she repeated, tasting the word. She glanced around at the phones, the watching faces, the mud at her feet. "Pick up my papers." The boy laughed. "Or what?" She hesitated. "Not long. Just enough for something to settle behind her eyes, something old and steady." Her shoulders dropped, the tension easing in a way that looked like surrender to anyone who didn't know better. "Last chance," she said softly. The phone came closer. "Say please." He reached out, flicking a muddy drop toward her sleeve. It landed and spread, brown on cream. The sound of laughter rose again, careless and cruel. Miss Park inhaled. The rain kissed her face. She let the breath out slowly, as if counting. Around them, the yard buzzed back to life, engines, voices, the slap of shoes, but the space between her and the boys felt carved out, focused. She set her feet, shoulder-width apart, sinking slightly into the mud, testing its pull. Her hands relaxed at her sides. The chipped mug lay in pieces behind her, forgotten. The folder, abandoned. "Enough," she said. This time, it carried. The rocking boy opened his mouth to reply, and paused, brow creasing, as if something about her stance had shifted in a way he couldn't name. The phone wavered. The laughter thinned, uncertain. Rain tapped on leaves. Mud sucked at boots. Ms. Park's gaze didn't leave them, calm now, measuring, like she'd stepped into a different room altogether.